Yeah. Say I'm from Virginia where my son is buried. If I ever leave, bury him in Inglewood Cemetery. I'ma do things that's legendary. Got some really big things on the itinerary. Boy, that's why I'm cooking up, that's culinary. Gotta get it done by any means necessary. I'ma state my case even if it's preliminary. I gotta shake the way we can't survive a commissary. Jenny Craig, cause my thoughts are heavy. Got Planet Fitness as a witness cause he working daily. I gotta tell Sally, hold on, I'm still working, baby. I know it's God's grace to bless you with that kind of lady. I know it's God's grace to bless us with some more babies. I know it's God's grace to bless us with food daily. I know it's God's grace to have my name upon a mortgage. I know it's God's grace to save me all was in a foreign.
Yo, we're getting back into it. Form Follows Theology, Ep.3. There's some things that I wanted to try. Well, really just one new thing that I wanted to try. Working on a name, the name pending. It's gonna be a section where I'm talking about something that literally I just see and think how it randomly just came back to God. Maybe call it over spiritualizing, but give y'all a little bit of a taste of how my brain works sometimes. So the other day I was going on a walk in the morning, and um, I don't normally do that. Don't normally get up that early, but trying to be better. You know what I'm saying? So I was walking, and at one point in my walk there was a roundabout. Sorry, I'm about to drink some water. At one point in my walk, there's a roundabout, and in this roundabout, I was thinking about some videos that I had watched from Vox or some other people about how roundabouts are, generally speaking, better urban planning than four-way stops or three-way stops or however many stops. They just tend to work more efficiently. And I was like, I was really appreciating the curvature of this roundabout. But then it made me think. I remember when it was being built, and it reminded me of how before we build stuff, we completely like haze this area and make it level, make it flat, and we move as much earth as possible in order to conform it to this section, this image that we have. And I was like, dang, it's kind of wild that like we just strip away like the natural curvature and stuff like that, but we love, generally speaking, like organic shapes, like curvatures. We love it. It's appealing to the eye. Like nature is beautiful. The lines in it are beautiful. So like, why do we do that? And it got me thinking about, I think it's the Jungle Book. And in it the elephants are like these gods, like they're like mystical creatures, and they're like that because they're so big, and like elephants will do this in real life. They're so big and they're heavy and they're strong, like they move um trees, or they move rocks, and they do all these things. Like the footsteps that they leave are uh like they retrace rivers, they retrace the terrain, and they reshape it depending on however they please. And I was like, dang, like we have really made ourselves into like this. We feel like we're the elephants, you know what I mean? And I think in some cases, like we're like we are, like I do believe that we are to have dominion over the earth and things like that. But I was like, dang, we've made the element, we've become the elephants, and we have like structured our cities in like these grids and all these different things to do things that make sense on certain logical levels. And in some ways, I'm not saying all of this is bad. In a lot of ways, it's all good. But I think that I often think about how we maybe could have done things differently. Like I think about I started thinking about the movie Cars, and the first one specifically. They're all hating on the interstate because the interstate is just like this straight line that cuts through the natural beauty of everything. And straight lines, you don't find that very often in nature anyway. And they were talking about lightning and old girl go up onto that like really windy road, and it's beautiful, and it curves with the road curves with nature. And we worked with nature. We still needed roads, we still needed cars, but we worked with the natural form of the earth. um and man, I just started thinking about that, about how we were given like this dominion, and we get to choose how we use it, even in things like how we build our roads and how we build our cities. And like we have the opportunity to maybe do some things that seem like a little less logical, or like they seem like they take a little more time. But we get to do it because things are beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, uh, and I think that there's real value in that. There's real value in aesthetics. That's why this whole thing started. There's value in it. Like God made some trees that were good for eating. He also just made some trees that were pleasant to the eye. And so I hope that in whatever you're doing, that you're not just thinking about robotic efficiency, but you are taking the time to say, where's the beauty in this, and how can I maybe inconvenience myself on purpose in order to recognize the beauty that exists in whatever thing that I'm doing. So with that said, we'll get into the main portion of the episode. I hope y'all enjoy. All right, now we're back into it. This one is going to be a little, perhaps shorter. We'll see how long I talk, but definitely a little bit more relaxed, and definitely a lot more just um, some thoughts that I was having related that started from clothing, and this intersection of clothing and our theology. And I was reminded of a sermon earlier this week. And that sermon, well, during the sermon, there was an example that was given of some certain kind of monk, like Christian or Catholic monk. And I was just super struck by the physical symbolism that exists um, in this religion. And like, we think of things like communion, things like baptism, things that have been around for so long that we forget that they're really supposed to be. Sometimes we can forget that this is supposed to be a symbol of some spiritual change that's going on in your life, demonstrated in the physical. But anyway, these specific kind of monks, it was crazy. Like, so you come in with your clothes. So I'm wearing a tank top and a hoodie. You come to this monastery, you come to this temple, and walk you walk up and you say, "Yeah, I'm gonna join this order of monks." And what they do is they say, "Okay, yeah, yeah, you want to join? Blessings, all these things," and they give you the robes that you're gonna wear. They give you the robes that you're gonna wear for the rest of your life. And what they do is, what I would have assumed is that they would take the clothes that you had on, they would dispose of the clothes that you had on, they would give you your newly uh, received robes, and you would go on your way. You would say, "Yeah, your old life is gone, your new life is here." Signified in the passing of the old and the giving of the new clothes. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. But that's not actually what they did. What they did was you would have your own room, and you would wake up and your robes would be hanging in kind of this space, open face closet kind of thing. But what they did was they actually kept the clothes that you came in with, your street clothes, in the same closet as your monastic robes. And I found this so interesting. Like they they give you, it is such a physical reminder of the choices that we make and face every single day. Um, and the very beginning of everything, Adam and Eve were told not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God said, the day you eat of it, you'll surely die. And it was in the middle of the garden, smack in the middle of the garden. And presumably, depending on how long Adam and Eve were in there, they walked by the garden, or they walked by that tree um, numerous times. Many times as they walked from one side of the garden to another. They had to have passed this tree over and over and over again. Every time that they woke up, every day, they would have to be faced with the decision: am I going to eat of this tree, or am I going to eat of the tree of life? Am I going to allow God to choose wisdom for me and submit my own judgment to Him, or am I going to take everything into my own hands and eat? And I think it's such a beautiful thing that to me, what I see is these monks were playing this decision uh, in a very physical way, because we make that decision every day. Every day we wake up as believers and we get to decide: am I going to live by my own wisdom, or am I going to submit and daily offer my body up as a sacrifice? But these monks would literally wake up and see their old street clothes, and they would have the option to, if they were ever like, nah, I don't like this, I don't want this, they had the option to say, I'm not going to put on my robes today. I am going to put on my street clothes again, put on who I was when I came here, and leave this life behind, leave this religious um, devotion behind. And it makes me think that maybe not. I'm sure most of us don't have a open face closet or a closet or whatever that we have some literal clothes from before we were saved in. But it is very interesting that you know there's a deeper lesson there. We might not all have those clothes, like I said, but each and every one of us can take account every day and consider: am I going to put on who I once was, or am I going to again surrender and devote myself to a way that is not my way, and I don't always understand it, and it doesn't feel good, but I get to die to myself and what I wanted and what I once was, and I get to daily clothe myself in the righteousness that is Christ. So I hope that was just, a quick little thing to get your mind spinning, mind turning. I would appreciate later this week, as you're hearing this, I have a new podcast coming out with my boy, Miles. I would appreciate if y'all stayed ready, tapped in for that. But yeah, I hope y'all have a blessed day. Appreciate it.